Hello viewers, welcome once again to Home Tips with Mira. In today's episode, we are looking at methods of controlling pests in your garden organically. You know, with gardening experience, it brings so much joy, but you know, there's a downside of it where you visit your garden and you realize that pests have invaded your garden. Oh my goodness, pests like aphids, fruit flies, moth and what have you. So today we are looking at some, home remedies, things that you can use, common things that you can use at home in order to get yourself a pesticide so that you can use in your garden to fight these pests that destroy the fruits and the plants in our garden. The first method which I want to show you is the use of cloves. I've used it before and it is very effective. Cloves with liquid soap or our usual alasasamina, mix it with water and use it to spray on your plant. It usually works best against soft-bodied pests. So like the white flies, it works against them. So what I did is that I crushed the cloves in my mortar and pestle, and then I soaked the crushed cloves in my carrier oil, which is the coconut oil. I'm now going to put it in a bottle and then I'll add the carrier oil. I kept it aside in the sun for about 2 weeks. So from time to time, I just pour a tablespoonful of the clove oil and then I add my tablespoonful of liquid soap so that I can get a uniform mixture. And I'll add water, about 300 ml. And then I spray on my plants from time to time. Please remember to sieve the mixture because the cloves contain particles and you don't want the particles to choke your spray bottle or your pump. Now I have to transfer it into my spray bottle. And I'm using this small bottle because I'm just spraying this on my citrus plants. But if you have like a garden that has been infested, you can use a pump, the bigger pump. So look at the aphids behind the leaves. This is what they do. They hide there and they sap out the nutrients from the leaves. So if you are working with organic pesticide and you spray on the plants, be it pepper plant or any other plant, make sure that while spraying on top of the leaves, you also get access to the under parts of the leaves so that you can spray and get rid of all the aphids. It is ideal to spray in the evening. So when you spray in the evening, check to see if it is okay. If it is okay, then you can repeat and then spread it in your garden. But just use one plant as a guinea pig and check how it reacts. Apart from spraying with this organic insecticide, when you see that your tree is infested, one sure way of battling with this pest is also to prune your trees. After pruning, then you can spray this organic insecticide on it. And don't just do it once and think that it is going to solve the problem. This one is not so strong like the artificial pesticides that are sold on the market, but it works very well. The only thing that you have to do is that keep at it and keep doing it from, like, let's say every 3 days you spray on your plants. And when you do it for a very long period of time, you are sure that you'll be able to combat this pest in your garden. And remember that this one is very safe, so you can spray it on your vegetables or your fruits as well. This is the neem leaves. In fact, it contains one of the strongest repellent compound. So when you use it as a pesticide in your garden, it works so effectively. So I'm just going to show you some ways that you can use the neem as an organic pesticide to fight pests in your garden. There are different methods. So this is the first method, and I'm going to boil the neem leaves plus garlic. So I'm going to crush the garlic and then I'll add the neem leaves and boil them in water. Garlic also has a repellent abilities. After that, we'll just put it down for the water to cool and then we'll use it to spray our garden. Please, you have to use a funnel to help you pour the mixture into the bottle. And I'm using this small bottle because I'm just spraying this on my citrus plants. That's my orange fruit. But if you have like a garden that, you know, has been infested, you can use a pump, the bigger pump. I'm just going to take you through the process of using the neem as an organic pesticide to fight pests in your garden. Now we are going to pound our neem leaves. I'm going to pound it, and then I'll put the pounded mixture in coconut oil, and I'm going to do the double boiling method. So I'll put it in a pan with water, I'll put the oil there, and then I'll let the water in the pan boil the oil, and then we'll get neem oil. Like I said earlier, the oil can also be extracted from the seed, so you can use this one or the oil that has been extracted from the seed. Just make sure that the level of the water is not so much that when it boils it can enter into the oil. Just keep the water at the base of the pan so that it doesn't enter into the oil. And we'll have a gentle fuse of the ingredients from the neem leaves into the coconut oil, and then we have our neem oil for use. The neem oil is ready now, so I'm going to sieve it. So for this solution, I used chili pepper and my liquid soap, which is alatasamina. In fact, when you use alatasamina or any liquid soap in this solution, what it does is that it breaks down the nervous system of those insects. It distorts their breathing pattern, thereby they will be unable to feed very well. And then I also use my neem oil extract. So I use 1 tablespoonful of the neem oil, and then I use 1 tablespoonful of the liquid soap, my alatasamina, and then I use 2 tablespoonfuls of my pepper. You can either use the fresh cayenne pepper or the powdered one. And please, if you are using the powdered one, make sure you sieve it because it contains particles, and you don't want those particles to block your spray can. So you mix everything together, you get your solution, and like I always say, test it on one plant and see if it will react well. If it doesn't cause any harm to the leaves, then you can go ahead and spray in your garden. These are also the leaves of custard apple or sweet apple. Did you know that you can use it as an organic insecticide? Yes, you can. What you have to do is simply crush it to release the compound in it and soak it in water. I have this one soaked right here. I've had it for like 3 hours. I soaked it, and so what I'm going to do is just to pour it and strain it through a sieve so that I can get rid of the particles in it, and voila, I just use it to spray on my plants in my garden. And there are some best practices to keep in order to also try and avoid pests in your garden. Try and get disease-resistant seedlings. Try and do crop rotation. And when you are planting your crops, please ensure that you space them. And when you realize that one plant is infested, what you can also do is that try as much as possible to get rid of that plant and destroy it completely so that it doesn't affect the remaining plants. In your garden, there are natural enemies. We have the ladybug. They try to feed on these aphids, whiteflies, and all that. There's also the spider. So when you use this kind of organic pesticides in your garden, it doesn't really harm the natural enemies to this insect in your garden that destroys your plant. So try as much as possible and do any of these methods that I have shown and apply it in your garden for a safe garden practice. Thank you so much for watching. Please, you can visit my YouTube page for extended version of this video. This is all time will allow us to share. Thank you so much for watching, and stay positive.